Please help me, sir. I can't die on this road. Please. The little girl's voice was barely a whisper against the roaring wind. Rain smashed against her face like tiny stones. She was sitting in an old rusty wheelchair in the middle of a pitch-black highway. Her name was Mia. She was only 10 years old. Her legs didn't work. Her pink jacket was soaked through. And she was shaking so hard that her teeth made a clicking sound. Just seconds ago, her mother had pushed her out of the car. Her mother had looked her in the eye, said, "I'm sorry," and drove away into the darkness. Now, blinding headlights were coming straight at her. A massive truck was speeding down the wet road. The driver couldn't see the small girl low to the ground. "Please stop." Mia screamed, shielding her eyes. The horn of the truck blasted. It was too loud. It was too close. Mia squeezed her eyes shut and waited for the end. Wait. Before we see if Mia survives this terrifying moment, drop a comment right now telling me where you are watching from. Are you in the USA? Nigeria? The UK? Let me know in the comments. Now let's see how Mia ended up in this nightmare. 3 days before the storm, the sun was shining, but Mia's house felt like a prison. Mia lived with her mother, Sarah. Sarah wasn't a bad person, or at least she didn't used to be. But Sarah was tired. She was broke. And she had a new boyfriend named Gary. Gary was the kind of man who didn't like problems. And to Gary, Mia was a problem. Mia was sitting in the small kitchen trying to eat her cereal. Her hands shook a little when she held the spoon. She had a condition that made her muscles weak. She needed help to get dressed. She needed help to get into her chair. She needed expensive medicine. Gary walked into the kitchen. He was wearing a sharp suit and smelling like expensive cologne. He looked at Mia with cold eyes. "She spilled milk again, Sarah," Gary said, not even looking at Mia. He pointed at a tiny drop of milk on the table. Sarah rushed over with a cloth. "I'll clean it, Gary." "It's okay." "It's not okay," Gary snapped. He grabbed Sarah's arm. "We talked about this. I got the job in the city. Big money. A penthouse apartment. But the apartment, it's not set up for a wheelchair. And frankly, Sarah, I want a life. I want to travel. I don't want to be a nurse." Mia lowered her head. She felt tears stinging her eyes. She hated being a burden. She hated that her legs didn't work. "Gary, she's my daughter," Sarah whispered. "I can't just leave her." "Then you stay here," Gary said, letting go of her arm. "You stay in this dump with the bills and the medicine and the struggle. But if you come with me, you come alone. We leave Friday night. You have until then to decide." Gary walked out, slamming the door. The room was silent. Mia looked at her mom. "Mom? Are you going to leave me?" Sarah turned around. She was crying. She hugged Mia so tight it almost hurt. "No, baby. I love you. I won't leave you. We'll figure it out." But that night, Mia heard her mom on the phone. "I know, Gary. I know it's a billion-dollar opportunity. I know. I need to find a place for her. A safe place." "No, I haven't told her yet." Friday came too fast. The sky was gray and angry. "Pack your bag, Mia," Sarah said. She wouldn't look Mia in the eye. "We're going on a trip. A special trip." "Is Gary coming?" Mia asked. "No," Sarah said quickly. "Just us. I found a school. A special school for girls like you. It has doctors and nice beds and other kids to play with." Mia felt a lump in her throat. "But I want to stay with you, Mom." "It's better there, Mia," Sarah shouted. Then she softened. "Please, Mia. Do this for Mommy. I need you to go there so I can work. Once I have money, I'll come back for you. I promise." Mia nodded slowly. She packed her small bag. She put in her favorite book and a picture of her and her mom from when she was a baby. They got into Sarah's old car. They drove for hours. The city disappeared. The houses disappeared. Soon they were just driving through thick, dark woods. "Mom, where is the school?" Mia asked. "It's getting dark." "It's a little far out," Sarah said. Her hands were gripping the steering wheel so hard her knuckles were white. "Just a bit further." The rain started. It began as a drizzle, then turned into a storm. Thunder shook the car. Suddenly, Sarah pulled the car over on a lonely stretch of highway. There were no lights, no buildings, just trees and rain. "Why are we stopping?" Mia asked. The engine light," Sarah lied. "I need to check the tire." "Mia, get out for a second. I need to get the jack from under your seat." Sarah got out in the rain. She opened Mia's door and lifted her into her wheelchair. She didn't put Mia's coat on properly. She just set her down on the side of the road. "Mom, it's raining." Mia cried. I know," Sarah said. She was crying now too. I'm sorry, Mia. I'm so sorry. The school isn't real. What? Mia's heart stopped. Gary won't take us if you come, Sarah sobbed. He's my only chance, Mia. I can't be poor anymore. I can't do it. Mom, no. Mia reached out. Don't leave me. Please. Sarah turned away. She ran back to the driver's seat. Mommy? Mia screamed. Sarah slammed the door. She locked it. She revved the engine and peeled away, leaving tire marks on the wet road. Mia watched the red tail lights fade away. She was alone. And that brings us back to the moment that could end it all. Mia sat there, freezing. The truck was coming. The horn was blasting. Mia covered her head. This is it, she thought. I'm going to see Grandma in heaven. Screech. The tires of the truck squealed against the asphalt. The smell of burnt rubber filled the air. The massive vehicle swerved violently to the left, missing Mia by just 2 inches. The wind from the truck almost knocked her wheelchair over. The truck didn't stop. It kept going, disappearing into the night. The driver was probably too scared to look back. Mia was shaking uncontrollably. She was alive. But for how long? Suddenly, another set of lights appeared. This car was different. It was sleek. It moved smoothly like a panther. It was a long, black limousine. It slowed down as it approached Mia. It didn't swerve. It came to a gentle stop right in front of her. The back door opened. An umbrella popped out first. A man stepped out. He was wearing a tuxedo that cost more than Mia's house. He had silver hair and kind but sharp eyes. He didn't look like he belonged on a dirty road in the rain. He looked like a king. He walked right up to Mia. He didn't care that the rain was ruining his expensive shoes. He knelt down in a puddle so he could be eye level with her. My goodness, the man said. His voice was deep and warm. Child, what are you doing here? Where are your parents? Mia couldn't speak. She was too cold. She just pointed down the road where her mother had gone. She left, Mia stammered. Mom left. The man's eyes darkened. He looked down the empty road and for a second he looked scary. Angry. But then he looked back at Mia and his face softened. You are freezing, he said. He took off his expensive suit jacket and wrapped it around Mia's shivering shoulders. It was warm and smelled like pine and money. My name is Mr. Sterling, he said. And I promise you, no one is ever going to leave you in the cold again. He didn't ask for permission. He scooped Mia up in his arms, leaving the rusty wheelchair on the road. He carried her to the warm leather back seat of the limousine. Driver, Mr. Sterling said into the intercom. Turn the heat up. And call my private doctor. Tell him to meet us at the mansion. We have an emergency. As the car drove away, Mia looked out the back window. Her old life, the wheelchair, the fear, the abandonment, was disappearing in the rain. She looked at Mr. Sterling. Are you an angel? She whispered. Mr. Sterling smiled, but it was a sad smile. No, my dear. I'm just a man with too much money and not enough family. But tell me, what is your mother's name? Sarah, Mia said. Mr. Sterling pulled out a gold phone. He typed something into it. His face was hard as stone. Don't worry about Sarah, Mr. Sterling said. I'm going to find her. And when I do, she's going to wish she never drove down this road. The inside of the black SUV felt like a spaceship. It was warm, quiet, and smelled like expensive leather and pine trees. Mia was shivering uncontrollably, wrapped in a thick, fluffy towel. She looked around with wide eyes. There were twinkling lights on the roof of the car that looked like stars. There was a TV screen. There was even a small fridge. The billionaire sat opposite her. He had taken off his wet tuxedo jacket and rolled up his sleeves. He held a cup of steaming hot chocolate. Drink, he said softly. His voice was no longer angry. It was deep and safe. Mia took the cup with shaking hands. The first sip warmed her freezing chest. It was the best thing she had ever tasted. Thank you, she whispered. Are you a king? The billionaire's lip twitched into a small smile. No, Mia. My name is Ethan Sterling. And tonight you are my guest. Ethan pressed a button on the wall. A screen lit up showing a map. A red dot was moving fast on the highway, away from them. Is that my mom? Mia asked, pointing at the red dot. Ethan's eyes turned cold again for a second. Do not worry about her. She made her choice. Now I am making mine. He looked at the driver. Take us home. And tell the pilot to keep the helicopter ready. The hunt begins at dawn. The hunt? What does Ethan mean? Before we see the billionaire's castle, drop a heart in the comments if you think Mia deserves a better life. 30 minutes later, the car drove through massive iron gates. Mia pressed her face against the glass. Wow, she breathed. It wasn't just a house. It was a palace. It was made of white stone and had fountains in the front that were lit up with golden lights. It looked like the castles in her storybooks, the ones her mom used to read to her before Rick came along. The car stopped, and 3 people in uniforms were waiting with umbrellas. Ethan carried Mia inside. The floor was made of shiny marble. A giant chandelier hung from the ceiling, sparkling like diamonds. Mrs. Higgins. Ethan called out. A kind-looking older woman with gray hair in a bun came running. She wore a black dress with a white apron. When she saw Mia, wet, muddy and holding a soggy teddy bear, her hands flew to her mouth. Oh my stars! Mrs. Higgins gasped. Mr. Sterling, who is this poor angel? This is Mia, Ethan said firmly. She has been abandoned. Prepare the guest suite. The pink one. And get Dr. Eris on the phone immediately. She has been in the freezing rain for hours. Right away, sir. Mrs. Higgins rushed off. Ethan looked down at Mia. You will never be cold again, Mia. I promise. For the first time in a long time, Mia felt safe. She rested her head on Ethan's shoulder and closed her eyes. While Mia was being carried into a palace, her mother, Carla, was sitting in a bright, noisy airport terminal. She was holding a glass of champagne. She was laughing. Rick was sitting next to her, looking at his phone. He looked happy. See, babe? I told you. It's done. No more burden. No more wheelchair scratching the floors. Carla took a sip of her drink. Her hand trembled just a little bit, but she pushed the guilt away. Do you think she's okay? Rick scoffed. Who cares? Someone probably picked her up. Or the police found her. She's the state's problem now. We are going to Paris, Carla. Think about the shopping. Think about the Eiffel Tower. Carla smiled, but it was weak. Yeah, Paris. To us, Rick toasted, clinking his glass against hers. To freedom. To freedom, Carla whispered. She didn't know that 50 miles away, the most powerful man in the country was looking at her picture on a giant computer screen. Back at the mansion, Mia was in a bathtub filled with warm bubbles. It was the biggest tub she had ever seen. Mrs. Higgins washed her hair gently, singing a soft lullaby. You have beautiful hair, darling, Mrs. Higgins said. My mom used to brush it, Mia said quietly. Before she left me. Mrs. Higgins' eyes filled with tears. She hugged Mia. Well, you're safe now. Mr. Sterling is a good man. A very good man. After the bath, they dressed Mia in soft, warm pajamas with clouds on them. They put her in a bed that felt like sleeping on a marshmallow. Downstairs in his library, Ethan Sterling was not sleeping. He was pacing back and forth. His head of security, a man named Marcus, walked in. Marcus looked serious. Sir, we found the car, Marcus said. It's an old blue sedan. Registered to a Carla D. The car was abandoned at the airport parking lot. The airport, Ethan growled. Where are they going? They have tickets for Flight 402 to Paris. Departing in 2 hours, Marcus said. She is with a man named Rick S. Ethan walked over to his desk. He picked up a picture frame. In the picture was a beautiful woman in a wheelchair, Ethan's late wife. She had died 2 years ago in a car accident because an ambulance couldn't get to her in time. Ethan touched the picture. He knew the pain of not being able to save someone he loved. And he hated anyone who would throw away a life. They think they are flying to freedom, Ethan said, his voice low and dangerous. Marcus, call the airport. To stop the plane, sir? No, Ethan turned around. His eyes were burning with a scary fire. By the airline. Marcus's jaw dropped. By the whole airline, sir? I want total control, Ethan said. I don't want them arrested by the police yet. That is too easy. I want them to feel hope and then I want to crush it. I want them to know exactly who they messed with. Mia was sleeping soundly in the huge pink room. She was dreaming of horses. But downstairs the war was beginning. Ethan picked up a red phone on his desk. Connect me to the pilot of Flight 402, Ethan ordered. A few seconds later, a crackly voice came on the line. This is Captain Rogers. Who is this? This is the new owner of your aircraft, Ethan said. You have 2 passengers in seat 1A and 1B. A Mr. Rick and a Miss Carla. Yes, sir. They are boarding right now. Good, Ethan smiled a terrifying smile. Let them board. Let them sit down. Let them drink their champagne. Let them think they have won. And then what, sir? The pilot asked nervously. Ethan looked out the window at the storm raging outside. And then, Ethan whispered, I want you to deliver a message over the loudspeaker. A message specifically for them. Ethan paused, his hand gripping the phone tight. Tell them. The monster is coming. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. On board Flight 402 to Paris, Rick and Carla were sitting in first class. They were sipping more champagne. They had their feet up. They looked like the happiest couple in the world. Rick laughed, holding his glass up. To us, Carla. No more dragging that chair around. No more doctor visits. Just luxury. Carla forced a smile. She tried to forget the image of Mia crying in the rain. To us, she whispered. Then the captain's voice crackled over the speakers again. But this time his voice sounded different. It sounded serious. I have an update on our flight path. We are no longer going to Paris. Rick sat up. What? What is he talking about? The passengers started whispering. Where are we going? Someone asked. The captain continued. We have been ordered to divert the plane. The new owner of this airline has a very specific message for 2 passengers in row 1. Rick and Carla froze. They were in row 1. The message is. The captain paused and the whole plane went silent. You thought you could run away from what you did. But you cannot run from the monster. Suddenly the plane banked hard to the left. The engines roared louder. They weren't flying up anymore. They were going down. Rick's face turned pale. Who is the owner? What is happening? Carla started to shake. Rick, do you think someone found her? The plane is turning around. Panic is setting in. Before we see where they land, hit that subscribe button. If you want Rick and Carla to face justice, let me see a justice in the comments. While panic was taking over the airplane, peace was filling the castle. Mia woke up in the giant bed. For a second she thought she was still in the cold woods. But then she felt the warm blanket. She smelled bacon and pancakes. The door opened gently. It was Mrs. Higgins. Good morning, sunshine, she beamed. Mr. Sterling is waiting for you in the garden. He has a surprise. Mrs. Higgins helped Mia into a new, beautiful yellow dress. She brushed Mia's hair until it shined. Then she pushed Mia's wheelchair out into the garden. The garden was magical. It was filled with flowers of every color, red, blue, purple. There were butterflies everywhere. In the middle of the garden, sitting at a glass table, was Ethan. He wasn't wearing a tuxedo today. He wore a soft gray sweater. He looked less like a scary billionaire and more like a dad. Good morning, Mia, Ethan smiled. Are you hungry? The table was full of food. Pancakes with strawberries, eggs, sausages, and fresh juice. I've never seen so much food, Mia whispered. Eat as much as you want, Ethan said gently. As Mia ate, she looked at Ethan. Mr. Ethan? Why did you save me? Most people think I am a burden. That's what Rick said. Ethan's smile faded. He looked sad for a moment. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver locket. He opened it and showed Mia. Inside was a picture of a beautiful woman sitting in a wheelchair, just like Mia. This was my wife, Sarah, Ethan said softly. She couldn't walk either. But she was the strongest, kindest person I ever knew. She taught me that a person's value isn't in their legs. It's in their heart. Mia touched the picture. She's pretty. She passed away 2 years ago, Ethan said, closing the locket. I couldn't save her. But when I saw you on that road, I knew I had to save you. No one gets left behind. Not on my watch. Ethan stood up. His face became strong again. Mia, I have to go out for a little while. I have some business to attend to. Mrs. Higgins will show you the movie theater room. You can watch anything you want. Where are you going? Mia asked. Ethan looked at the sky. He heard the faint sound of a jet engine far above the clouds. I am going to take out the trash, Ethan said. The plane was descending fast. Too fast. This is illegal. Rick screamed at a flight attendant. I am going to sue this airline. Do you know who I am? I demand to speak to the pilot. Sit down, sir, the flight attendant ordered. She didn't look scared of him. She looked at him with disgust. Fasten your seatbelt. Carla was crying hysterically. It's Mia. It's about Mia. I know it. Shut up about the kid. Rick yelled. This is a mistake. It's just a turbulence or something. The plane dipped below the clouds. They weren't at a big airport. They were flying over a dense forest, the same forest where they had abandoned Mia. In the distance, a long, private runway appeared. It was surrounded by tall fences and black cars. Where are we? Carla sobbed. The wheels of the plane hit the tarmac with a loud bang. The plane shook violently as it braked. Rick looked out the window. He saw men in black suits standing in a line. They weren't police. They looked like soldiers. "We are being kidnapped," Rick whispered. His arrogance was gone. Now there was only fear. The plane came to a stop in front of a massive hangar. The engines whined down and turned off. Silence. For 10 minutes, the doors didn't open. The air conditioning turned off. It started to get hot inside the plane. "Why aren't they opening the doors?" a passenger asked nervously. Rick loosened his tie. He was sweating. "Let me off this plane," he shouted at the sealed door. Then the intercom clicked on one last time. "First-class passengers only," the voice said. "Please exit the aircraft immediately. Everyone else, please remain seated." The flight attendant opened the main door. She looked at Rick and Carla. "Get out." Rick grabbed his bag. He tried to look tough, but his hands were shaking. "Fine. I'll sort this out myself." He grabbed Carla's arm and pulled her out of the plane. They stepped onto the metal stairs. The wind was blowing hard. The sky was gray. At the bottom of the stairs, standing on the wet concrete, was a single man. He stood with his hands in his pockets. He was tall. He was broad. He was staring right at them. It was Ethan Sterling. Behind him stood 4 security guards with stone faces. Rick walked down the stairs trying to find his voice. "Hey, are you the owner? You can't just land a plane wherever you want. I have rights. I have a meeting in Paris." Ethan didn't blink. He didn't move. He just watched them come down, step by step, like a spider watching flies land in a web. Carla stopped halfway down. She recognized him. She recognized the eyes she had seen in the magazines. "Rick?" Carla whispered. "That's Ethan Sterling, the billionaire." Rick froze. "The what?" They reached the bottom of the stairs. Rick cleared his throat. "Mr. Sterling? Look, I don't know what this is about, but I'm a busy man. If you want an autograph, just ask." Ethan finally spoke. His voice was quiet, but it echoed in the silent hangar. "Where is she?" Ethan asked. Rick blinked. "Where is who?" "The little girl." Ethan took one step forward. The air felt colder. "The girl with the pink jacket. The girl in the wheelchair. Where is she?" Rick laughed nervously. "I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have a kid. It's just us." Ethan looked at Carla. "Is that true, Mom? Do you not have a kid?" Carla looked at the ground. She couldn't speak. "We dropped her off at a special school." Rick lied quickly. "Yeah, school. She's fine. She's happy." Ethan pulled a remote control from his pocket. He pressed a button. Behind him, a giant screen on the side of the hangar turned on. The video showed dashcam footage from Ethan's car. It showed a dark road. It showed the rain. And it showed a terrified little girl screaming, "Mom! Mom, wait!" Rick's face turned white as a ghost. Carla fell to her knees and covered her ears. "Stop it. Please stop it." Ethan turned off the screen. He walked right up to Rick. He was so close Rick could feel the anger radiating off him. "You didn't take her to a school," Ethan growled. "You left a disabled child to die in a storm so you could go to Paris." Rick stepped back. "It was her idea, Carla. She wanted to leave her. I told her not to." Carla looked up shocked. "Rick, you liar. You told me to choose." "Silence," Ethan shouted. The sound was like a thunderclap. He looked at them both with pure disgust. "You wanted to be free of your burden?" Ethan asked. "You wanted a fresh start? Well, I am going to give it to you." Ethan snapped his fingers. The security guards stepped forward. They weren't holding handcuffs. They were holding shovels. "You like the woods so much?" Ethan said, pointing to the thick forest surrounding the runway. "Good. Because that is where you are going." Rick's eyes bulged. "What? You can't do this. I'm an American citizen." "And Mia was a human being," Ethan said, cold as ice. "You took everything from her. Her home. Her safety. Her trust. Now I'm taking everything from you." 2 guards grabbed Rick. 2 guards grabbed Carla. "Wait. No." Rick screamed, kicking and fighting. "Where are you taking us?" Ethan turned his back on them and started walking toward his car. "I'm taking you to your new home," Ethan called out over his shoulder. "Deep in the forest. No phones. No money. No shoes. Let's see how long you last in the cold." Rick screamed. "This is insane. You can't leave us in the woods." Ethan stopped. He turned his head slightly. "Why not?" Ethan smiled darkly. "It's just a fresh start." As the guards dragged a screaming Rick and a sobbing Carla toward the dark, scary tree line, Ethan's phone rang. It was Mrs. Higgins back at the castle. "Sir?" Mrs. Higgins sounded panicked. "You need to come back. Fast." "What is it?" Ethan asked, his heart jumping. It's Mia, Mrs. Higgins cried. She fainted. She's not waking up, sir. The doctors say her heart is failing. Ethan dropped the phone. The color drained from his face. He had caught the monsters. But he was about to lose the angel. The helicopter blades chopped through the air as it landed on the roof of the city hospital. Ethan jumped out before it even stopped moving. He ran through the hospital doors, his expensive shoes slipping on the floor. He didn't care about his business, his money, or the revenge he had planned. He only cared about one thing. Mia. He burst into the emergency room. Doctors were running everywhere. Where is she? Ethan shouted. Mr. Sterling, you can't be in here, a nurse said, trying to stop him. That is my daughter. Ethan yelled. The words came out before he could think. My daughter. He saw her through the glass window. Mia looked so small in the big white bed. She was hooked up to machines that beeped in a scary rhythm. Her skin was pale. Dr. Aris stepped out of the room. He looked tired. Ethan, the doctor said gravely. It's severe pneumonia from the storm, combined with her heart condition. Her body is very weak. She gave up hope out there on that road. Ethan felt his knees go weak. He sat down on the floor, burying his face in his hands. Save her, Aris. I don't care how much it costs. Buy the hospital. Buy the equipment. Just save her. We're doing everything we can, the doctor said gently. Now she needs a reason to fight. While Mia fought for her life upstairs, a different scene was happening downstairs at the hospital entrance. Two security guards dragged a shivering Rick and Carla through the doors. They were covered in mud, leaves in their hair, looking terrified. They had only been in the woods for an hour, but it had broken them. Ethan walked down to meet them. His face wasn't angry anymore. It was calm. Please? Carla sobbed, falling to the floor. Please don't put us back in the woods. It's cold. There are wolves. Rick was shaking too hard to speak. His arrogance was gone. He looked like a scared child. Ethan looked at them. He remembered the peace and kindness his late wife always talked about. He realized that if he left them in the woods, he would be a monster just like them. Get up, Ethan said softly. Carla looked up, confused. What? I am not going to leave you in the woods, Ethan said. Because I am not you. I don't throw people away. Rick let out a breath of relief. Thank you. Oh, thank you. We can just go. No, Ethan shook his head. I called the police. You are going to prison for child abandonment and endangerment. You will pay for what you did, but you will do it inside a cell, not out in the cold. Carla began to weep. Can I see her? Can I see Mia one last time? Ethan looked upstairs. No, Carla. You lost that right when you drove away. The police are waiting outside. As the officers handcuffed Rick and Carla, Carla looked back one last time. She didn't see a billionaire. She saw the man who was being the father she never let Mia have. 3 days passed. Ethan didn't leave Mia's side. He slept in the chair next to her bed. He held her hand. He read her stories about horses and castles. Come on, Mia, he whispered on the third night. You have to wake up. We have a castle to explore. We have a garden to plant. Suddenly he felt a tiny squeeze on his hand. Ethan's head snapped up. Mia's eyelids fluttered. Slowly her big brown eyes opened. She blinked at the bright lights, then looked at Ethan. Mr. King, she whispered weakly. Tears rolled down Ethan's cheeks. He laughed, a happy, relieved sound. It's Ethan, Mia. Just Ethan. Did you catch the bad guys? She asked. Ethan smoothed her hair back. The bad guys are gone, Mia. They can never hurt you again. They are in a place where they can't reach us. Mia looked around the room. Where is my mom? Ethan took a deep breath. This was the hardest part. Your mom? She made some bad choices. She can't take care of you anymore, Mia. She went away. Mia looked sad for a moment. She looked at her legs under the blanket. So, I really am alone? I'm a burden? No, Ethan said firmly. He stood up and pulled a paper from his pocket. You are not a burden. You are a blessing. He showed her the paper. It was a legal document. Mia, I don't want to just be the man who found you. I want to be your dad. I want to adopt you. I want to push your wheelchair, I want to buy you horses, and I want to be there every single day. He looked at her with hope in his eyes. Will you let me be your dad? Mia's face broke into the biggest smile Ethan had ever seen. It was brighter than the sun. Yes, she whispered. Yes, Dad. Ethan hugged her gently, feeling his heart become whole again. The story didn't end in the hospital. 1 year later, the sun was shining on the Sterling estate. But it wasn't quiet anymore. It was filled with laughter. In the garden, a beautiful paved track had been built. It was smooth and perfect for wheels. Faster, Dad. Faster. Mia was laughing as she raced down the track in a brand new bright purple sports wheelchair. She was fast. Ethan was running behind her, trying to keep up, laughing just as hard. They stopped by the stables. A gentle pony with a special saddle was waiting. Mia didn't just watch the horses anymore. She rode them. Ethan lifted her onto the pony. She sat tall and proud. You know, Ethan said, patting the horse, I used to think money was the most powerful thing in the world. I thought it could buy anything. Mia looked down at him, her eyes sparkling. And now? Ethan smiled, looking at his daughter. Now I know the truth. Money is just paper. But kindness? Kindness can save a life. And love? Love can heal a broken heart. Mia leaned down and kissed his forehead. I love you, Dad. I love you too, Mia. And as the sun set over their home, they weren't a billionaire and a disabled girl anymore. They were just a father and a daughter, bound together by the most shocking twist of all, happiness. The end. Wow. What a journey. From a cold, dark road to a warm, loving home. Mia finally got the happy ending she deserved. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button and share it with a friend who needs a smile today. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Thanks for watching, and remember, always be kind because you never know whose life you might save.